I'm Sophie Hanna, the Livestock Officer at Riverine Plains. Riverine Plains is a farming systems group based in southern New South Wales and northeast Victoria. We're dedicated to improving the prosperity of cropping, mixed and livestock farmers. Understanding the importance of lucerne for many of our producers, for the Riverine Plains branch of this project, we wanted to extend best practice lucerne production in terms of both cultivar selection and sowing rate and grazing management. In the Riverine Plains catchment, we established 2 demonstration sites, a species comparison at Savernake, hosted by Christine and Chantelle Gorman, and a practice comparison at Barooga, hosted by John and Sarah Bruce. At both demonstration sites, the demo paddocks were sown to lucerne in late May of 2023 and had pasture quality, frequency and biomass measurements taken over the following 12 months. The Barooga site, hosted by John and Sarah Bruce, aims to demonstrate the benefits of rotational grazing lucerne and how a rest period can improve pasture persistence, pasture quality and animal production. The site consists of 2 10-hectare dryland paddocks, sown to 9 kg per hectare of L70 lucerne and 6 kg per hectare of Zulu Max arrowleaf clover, which was sown in May of 2023. Also, as a part of the demo, were 2 irrigated 20-hectare paddocks, which are under a centre pivot irrigator, which was sown to lucerne in 2019 and were included as a part of the grazing demonstration.
So as far as rotational grazing and how we manage the pastures, we don't really have a set program as such. Here at home, where we've got irrigation, so we've got a lucerne under an overhead sprinkler here as well. We lamb all our twin-bearing ewes down here at home. So we're 10, 15, 20 hectare paddocks. We use electric fences to then split some of those paddocks in half again. We've just found management with twin-bearing ewes, the smaller the paddock, the better. So as far as generally with our ewes and lambing ewes, we don't generally move those ewes until the lambs are big enough. So we're supplementary feeding at times as well. When it comes to fattening lambs, then obviously, we're moving the lambs as they sort of eat the paddock out. We aren't doing pasture cuts and measurements as such. We probably should be, but we just find with the lucerne, because it's hardiness, you can flog it back pretty well bare, and it will come back again. Now, whether that probably in time that probably does a bit of damage to the lucerne, but we've just found it's the way we manage it, and it seems to have worked pretty well. So when we're like fattening lambs, growing lambs out, once they're weaned, we generally run them on the pivot circle. We've got a permanent, it's 40 hectares, we've got a permanent fence through the middle of it so we can just move them from side to side, cut some hay or cut some silage off one half just to freshen the paddock up. And it seems to work pretty well. We don't have a written rule that we follow. We just, if a paddock looks like it's getting flogged out, we'll just move them on then. So.
When establishing a perennial pasture, it's important to keep stock off the pasture for much of the first year of growth to allow it to establish well and develop its extensive root system. At the Barooga demonstration site, the 2 dryland paddocks established well and by early October were ready for grazing, with biomass around 2,000 kilograms per hectare in the paddocks that were dryland sown, compared to the 3,000 kilograms per dry matter per hectare that were available in the existing lucerne stands. Perennials are a really valuable feed source for livestock and mixed producers, as they can provide a feed all year round given there's enough rainfall over the summer. Unlike annuals, which will get going after the autumn break and produce a good amount of feed but then die off in the summer months, the perennials, given their name of multiple years, are able to keep producing feed over that summer period. And that's why lucerne is a really popular perennial in the Riverine Plains region, because it's a highly nutritious, deep-rooted legume. And so not only is it providing a good feed source for their ewes that they may be grazing on there, but also is fixing nitrogen, given the soil acidity is managed, and so the soil is a good pH. Perennial pastures, indicative of their name, survive for many years and therefore have the capacity to develop extensive root systems and provide feed year-round, depending on their winter and summer activity and seasonal conditions. Lucerne is a perennial legume that is commonly grown by mixed farmers in the Riverine Plains, where farmers generally have mixed operations with a focus on their cropping and livestock production. The summer activity, deep root system, nitrogen fixing capability and high nutritional quality of lucerne makes it a very popular pasture, particularly for sheep and hay producers. Working with Christine and Chantelle, we set out to demonstrate the impact of lucerne seeding rate and variety on pasture performance and persistence. The paddock was sown in late May of 2023 with a winter active lucerne, with the cultivar being Sadi 7 Series 2 at 5 kilograms per hectare, with a mid-maturing Brachycalcidium clover with the cultivar name being Montaro at 3 kilograms per hectare, and an early mid-maturing Uniticum clover, the cultivar name Monty, at 3 kilograms per hectare, and that treatment was the farmer control. The two species comparison treatments that were sown in the middle of the paddock, being 2 strips down the centre, were a Sadi 7 Series 2 heavy treatment, which comprised of 9 kilograms per hectare of the Sadi 7 Series 2, with the same Montaro and Monty 3 kilograms per hectare each of the subclovers, and the Sadi combo treatment comprised of 5 kilograms per hectare combination of both Sadi 7 Series 2 and a Sadi grazer, which is more of a winter active grazing tolerant lucerne, with the same, again, 3 kilograms per hectare each of the Montaro and Monty subclovers. The crops established well, and by September, total biomass was greater in the Sadi 7 Series 2 heavy treatment, around 1,800 kilograms of dry matter per hectare, with the farmer control being 1,600 kilograms dry matter per hectare. They're relatively similar, but we did see a slightly higher biomass for the heavier sowing rate, as to be expected. Lucerne composition was greater in the heavier sowing treatment, and this likely contributed to the overall greater biomass that we measured.
The lambs, once they're marked back on here, and we'll graze it like that. Also adding in that straw component just to help out with their stomachs and a bit more roughage.
Got to have a lot of roughage when you're grazing your lucerne and clovers, but it's definitely got a lot more nutritional value than grazing wheat and even grazing canola, I believe. It's got a lot more, say the word guts in it, I suppose, but still you have to make sure they've got plenty of roughage when they're on something like this, and they do utilise it, and it stops them from getting really dirty and bloat. And
yeah, for sure. And then potentially being able to, if once this is established, looking at timing our lambing and lamb down on lucerne is a future potential that we could do. But it's just getting those management strategies in place, and hopefully once we have a few more paddocks available like this, it'll make it a lot easier and hopefully boost our production rate for sure.
The pasture was first grazed in mid to late January in 2024 by 1,200 ewes, with a visual difference between the lucerne treatments.
Well, the lucerne obviously works well during the springtime. It's not so active in the winter time. So then you rely on your clovers underneath for your winter months, and that sort of gives it an even balance. Then you can get a range of grazing around the year, depending on weather conditions, obviously. But they work really well. The clovers have always done well. Bounce back, and of course obviously when it hits the warmer months, well, the clovers die off, the lucerne kicks into gear, so you've got that, they work well together.
Definitely. And then the two lucernes, the Sadi 7 and the Sadi grazer, they seem to complement each other as well, where the 7 definitely dies off more in the winter. That Sadi grazer, it seems to hold on that little bit longer, while those clovers are establishing for the winter months, and then it does obviously drop off, but they all just complement each other within the mix.
Across southern New South Wales, a consortium of farming systems groups, state departments and the Southern New South Wales Drought Resilience Adoption and Innovation Hub saw the value in showcasing modern pasture species combinations and management practices known to build greater resilience to their landscapes. The Creating Landscape Scale Change through Drought Resilience Pasture Systems project was established in June of 2022 through funding from the Australian Government's Future Drought Fund, Drought Resilience Soils and Landscapes Grants Program, secured by the Southern New South Wales Drought Resilience Adoption and Innovation Hub. The project is led by Holbrook Landcare Network and partners including Riverine Plains, Central West Farming Systems, Monero Farming Systems, FarmLink, Local Land Services, New South Wales DPI, Charles Sturt University and the Southern New South Wales Resilience Adoption and Innovation Hub. Pasture demonstration sites, farmer workshops, publications, case studies and on-farm consultations have supported delivering extension messages from the project.